How can you track and manage the effectiveness of your plumbing SEO efforts?
None of the other things happen without sales because there's no money coming in.
None of it. The ability for you to understand what your business brand is, that Google, Bing, ChatGPT, Gemini AI are going to make the phone ring every day. How can you track and manage the effectiveness of your plumbing SEO efforts? We're going to tell you what tools to use to analyze this. I want to also go over, how you get up in ranking, what tools other people show you how to track this stuff, what I disagree with. I think a lot of you have had this tracked before, and some agencies using third-party metrics to make it look good, and it's not. You know this because your phone isn't ringing. Tracking everything from Google Map rankings to how many keywords show up in rankings. Google actually tracked the top 1,000 or 999 or something like that.
1,000, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll go to about 1,000. You still want to get in organic. You want mapping. You want Gemini. You want ChatGPT. Organic's changed a little bit recently because you're going to get AI in it, whether you know or not. And you don't actually have to do anything extra to get into the AI rankings, but you still have to participate in what you would consider SEO.
Yeah.
So let's, I don't know what I want to go over first. I'll go over the same stuff I went over. Metrics my favorite metric is my phone rings more.
Right.
I get more jobs. A lot of you guys, and I'm this way too, I'm pretty base level and stuff always. I used to run a home security company. My family's in flooring and I mowed lawns. The only time I ever got my hands dirty is I mowed all those lawns I don't know how many lawns I mowed. I hadn't mowed a lawn in a long time, but I mowed 1,000 lawns, had a heat stroke or something, I think, at like 22, and
Jesus.
Sold my business. I was in bed for like a week. Did I ever tell you that?
No, you never did.
Yeah, I was mowing. I wouldn't spend the money, so I was mowing lawns with a big back wheels. We just didn't have as many riding lawnmowers back then or self-propelled, and the self-propelled were expensive. You remember it used to be called, it was Snapper and Toro, but Snapper went out of business.
My dad refused to buy a riding lawnmower until I moved out of the house. Or not a riding lawnmower, but a self-propelled. I had a push mower, and then as soon as I moved out, then he got a self-propelled because he had to do it himself. Yeah, I'll
tell this story real quick because it's really interesting to SEO, and how important this stuff is. Because I got out on my own when I was a little kid, and I was mowing. I was working for a family business in flooring, and I was mowing. And then I went into home security and did some other stuff. But as you're doing this stuff and I'm out on my own, if the phone doesn't ring or if you don't have leads, you're in a bad place.
Right.
It's a bad place. I won't share that whole sob story, poor Nolan, and anything like that. I mean, I went through hard.
I've heard it many times.
Yeah. So I auto-dialed back then we auto-dialed with telemarketing, like the old school auto-dialers. And I would get lawn care.
The tape machines.
The tape machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one, there's a Homer Simpson episode or a Simpsons episode. And Homer was, I think, dialing out for the Homer Fund, send him $1 or something, as I recall.
Send $1 to Happy Dude.
Yeah, Happy Dude. Yeah, and the thing got up and ran away, or grew wheels and ran away like a cyborg or something. But I had a bunch of those things. It was called, you can Google it, Scutch Electronics, the CBC 9000. So it was made by Scutch Electronics as a CBC 9000, and you'll see this weird old one was the outgoing message, and then people leaving messages.
Yeah,
most people would cuss me out and get a few lawn care jobs out of it. I started selling leads back then, long time ago, and then I started marketing. I didn't like that part of it, so I started marketing. I went into home security, and we sold like 23,000 alarm systems, but when you talk about measuring the effectiveness of the SEO efforts, if you could ever go back and just market like crazy, and so most guys, and I like to talk like this. I think it's important. Anybody listen to this, if you don't get marketing down, if you don't understand this and you don't market, your life's going to be rough forever, like forever. And I teach my kid. I get real rudimentary about this. I've got a 19-year-old daughter, an 18-year-old daughter, and a 15-year-old son. And they're all entrepreneurs. I've got, a couple of them already kind of working, doing their own thing at a pretty young age. And I try to teach them, and I came up with an acronym because they're my kids. I was trying to teach them about life and business, and I made an acronym named, it was SPITTLE.
Spittle.
sales to profit to investment to taxes to legal. And it's in that order pretty much. You're not going to get legal until you got your shit together.
Right.
You're not going to worry about tax strategies until you've made money. You're not going to make money before you invest. You're not going to invest without a profit. And you're not going to do shit without sales. Nothing. And I mean nothing. And so, I'll give you guys grace. I've made every stupid mistake in the world. But the wretchedness comes in when there's no leads.
Yeah.
No brand, no business, no phone calls, no sales. And so, yeah, managing the ability for you to understand what your business brand is, that Google, Bing, ChatGPT, Gemini AI are going to make the phone ring every day, and that they're judging brand signaling is invaluable for you to really dial that in. And so my kids know you have to brand, market, to get a lead, to get a sale. That's the first to spittle, the sale. But you branded and you sent out digital signals, or however that was in today's society. We do a lot of digital brand signaling through data pins and the old school essentials of SEO that still work, like a good website,
Right.
good plumbing website. And then it gets out there, and then signals begin to come in, and lo and behold, you begin to show up in Google ranking, ChatGPT ranking, map rankings, and the phone rings. And then
Every day.
you
Multiple
might
times.
overdo your profit margin. Oops, you lowered it. Or your expense structure. No profits, but you lowered it. The phone was still ringing, and you made a profit. And you made enough profit, and you overspent. F-150s, lake houses,
Boat.
wife upgrade. That one's rude. I'm sorry.
No matter how accurate.
I've
it's
been
rude.
married for a while, but I've seen a lot of you guys make some money.
Yep.
I see it. I got eyes.
The point is, though, as long
Yeah.
as sales are coming in,
Yeah.
every one of those other problems can be dealt with.
All those other problems can be dealt with because I've made all the mistakes. And wife upgrade. I apologize about that one. How crude of me.
If his wife is watching,
My wife,
I know you're not
21
fooled.
years, my wife would never, ever watch this. I'm lucky if she listens to my shit when I come home. She don't want to hear that. I ain't got no time for that. He's been saying the same
What happened at the office
He's
today?
saying the same
Shut
thing.
up.
same yappity yap.
What did your kids say to
Here
you?
comes Nolan with another yappuccino.
Oh, that was it. I didn't order a
like-
yappuccino.
I didn't order no yappuccino, husband. Anyway, but I've made every mistake. I've overspent my lifestyle. I've not invested money when I had it. I let it sit in the bank account, stared at it. I've done investments that weren't good. I'm involved as hell in the business. I don't know if I ever get out of it again, but I've been uninvolved enough and had a problem. If the phone rings, you correct everything.
Right.
Everything. So I'll tell you the same thing I taught my kids, spittle. I like it. I'm always doing stuff a little unconventional. It was spit, but spittle sound better. Little spit. I think I just did a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I just gave you a little bit.
Glad I'm over here.
But and the legal's on the end of it. You got tax strategies. You buy some real estate, cost segregation, accelerated depreciation. Legal, you might get lucky and have a family wealth attorney, get a trust fund or something, But that's the life cycle of it. You messed that ass up, and you messed up.
Yeah.
You do not.
None of the
pass
other
go.
things happen without sales because there's no money coming in.
None of it. So track and manage. So you can get on Google. You can track it. There are third-party metrics that are BS. They're guessing at stuff. You can't go into SEMrush and SEMrush and Ahrefs and really snoop that much because they're guessing.
Yeah. They're guessing, and their tools are not made for local SEO in the first place.
Yeah.
So if they were made for local SEO, some of the guesses might be better. But
Yes.
since they're not, and it's guessing, it's like a double whammy. It's almost useless.
Yeah.
We only use Google's metrics directly, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Business Performance metrics.
Yeah.
We don't look at anything else.
And they are lying to you when you call people. If you've had a digital marketing agency and they said, Bob, you're doing great. And you're like, I'm dying over here. It's not working. Assuming you're being realistic and you're actually not just calling because you got a lot of testosterone that day and you wanted to kick a web geek, but assuming that's not what's happening, and that you're actually not getting leads if someone told you that you had a lot of analytics, they're using third-party metrics and just showing you bots and crawlers. So that is what most people do when they're showing analytics and they're spinning this stuff. But if you can see actual Google Analytics, you can see how many keywords are in the top. You can see how many times your map impression goes off. You can see how many phone calls you got off your map. Anybody click the button, you can watch all
You
of
can
it.
see where the traffic's coming from in terms of is it organic or paid or direct, meaning someone like putting your URL. You can see even geographically. Sometimes some companies will get you. They'll slam in some backlinks and you'll get in some traffic and say, oh, you had 2,000 visitors last month. But if you go to the geography section in acquisition on Google Analytics, you realize that all those links came in from Sweden or something.
Yeah.
And then,
bots.
completely useless.
So I haven't looked in a while because y'all do this. I don't do this work. But when you go into Google Analytics, it's breaking out Gemini, right? You seen all that? You seen
No.
a Gemini breakout yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Too new, huh?
Too new, I think.
Well, that'll be coming soon.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll be getting a tab for it that shows everything
Yeah.
that it's doing, but it's not there yet.
I like it. So, guys, first one, you make money, you feel the calls. Second one, you want to get technical. It's on your own. Isn't it on their own Gmail account? The analytics.
We put it on our account,
Do
Week
we?
Management, but any client that wants to look at it, we invite them to the account
Okay.
so they can
So you can
view
get-
it. You can get the raw data with no spin, and and we'll explain anything you don't understand.
We'll show you how to look at your own analytics if you care to.
Right.
You don't have to. If marketing works, you can feel the phone calls and watch the bank account go up. I'm pretty old school about stuff, and it's not like I can't get in and do some other work, but you can just tell.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty darn good grasp of my expenses all the time. I'm not in there reconciling like I used to, but I can just tell. But you can tell if your business is rolling through and what's going on. And if you want to get technical and look at analytics, you can. And you probably need to know this because it's important. It's very important. And you never stop marketing. You never stop signaling. And you try to get as high as possible. I say it all the time, but it's, people are companies that are up in Google Maps are big because they're up there, not up there because they're big. And if you type your plumber in your market in and your city and state, plumber in Dallas TX or plumber in Waco TX or wherever you are, you'll find the biggest guys in your market because it's still the lion's share of the leads. There's other stuff up there, but don't be painting negative narratives and saying, I can't do it, or ABC Plumbing's just, they're this and that. If you'll send good signals, you get up there. And that's where everybody is. This is going to cost you hundreds and 100% less, better return on investment dollar, more leads. It's where most people go. It's the best place to be. Call us when you're ready. We'd love to hear from you. We've been doing this 15 years. We'd like to hear from you directly. Message, call, email.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you, Jason.